Welcome to the annual CLA Conference, Rural Wales, an excellent climate for green growth.
Thank you very much. So I am really pleased to be here speaking to an audience so intimately connected to our land and environment. You absolutely do understand better than most the importance of preserving and enhancing natural resource for future generations. Wales's farmers, foresters and land managers have been the custodians of our national landscape for many centuries. Doing nothing is just not an option. We've just recently published Net Zero Wales, which is the next phase in our journey towards a greener future. The plan sets out 123 government policies and proposals, covering every area from active travel to peatland restoration and from green skills to renewable energy. But it's absolutely making clear that the government cannot tackle this challenge alone. Everyone in Wales has to play their part, but this has to be our decade of action. In fact, the land-based sector is in a unique position. It's the only one currently able to remove emissions from the atmosphere. Planting more trees captures and stores carbon. Woodland promotes biodiversity, supports the timber industry, mitigates flooding, improves air quality, and is good for people's well-being. So we need more trees, and lots of them. I know you're aware that my Cabinet colleague, the Minister for Rural Affairs in North Wales, is bringing in the biggest change in agricultural policy for decades, based on the principle of sustainable land management.
I live in a family, we live in the Clwydian and Range and Dee Valley. I understand you'd like to make this a national park, and I would like to know your reasons why.
National parks bring benefits, but they can also be regarded as barriers to local development and so on. So we want to work with you to make sure that we're getting that balance right. I don't have all the answers. We need your ideas. We need to understand where you're coming from. We need to know not just the problems, but what you think the solutions are.
Thank you, Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you. To achieve the goals set by government may mean fundamental changes to the way we run our businesses. It may mean some extra costs, but also opportunities for new income streams. As farmers and rural business owners, we will have to learn to incorporate climate into all of our decision making. If Welsh Government wishes to continue to diverge from England to tread its own path on issues such as climate, there also needs to be an account taken of issues such as cross-border holdings and clarity about how they will be dealt with. And another sort of issue that's also coming to light is the phenomenon of large businesses buying up farms to plant trees on them in order to sequester carbon.
This will give you or incentivise you to look at this document published today outlines how farmers and landowners can play a key role in supporting green economic growth. We're really excited about the draft scheme being published next year alongside the Agriculture Wales Bill. We're going to make use of all our members and other stakeholders, some of whom are in the room, to really try and make this work on the ground.
Cooperation between rural professionals is the only way to achieve the rural powerhouse for Wales. We are working with a lot of farmers who are thinking about trees on their land, and the reason they're thinking about it is it complements their food production.
What's the CLA's role in supporting its members become carbon literate? And carbon literate means understanding the relationship between what you do as a business and what's coming. And I think that those who own land and have been on the land for a long time are the best placed people to start understanding what it means to manage this, not for the next generation, not for 2050. But what we've noticed, weirdly, is that the farming communities apparently have never had a structural conversation with the health boards. Like there was no connection between what goes on our land and what happens to people's bodies. I'd love to see a future where landowners get paid directly for the value that they create for a nation's health.
So the main aim of the Low Carbon Project is to measure and monitor the carbon footprint of the whole estate. And in order to fully understand the carbon sequestration on the soils in the estate, specific soil testing was undertaken across various fields with different soil types and land uses. And from this, we discovered that the levels of organic matter in the soil had a significant impact on the active renewable carbon from the atmosphere.
There's no point of us as Wales YFC working hard in our corner, CLA working hard in their corner, other small companies working hard in their corner. These people have got to work together.
The Welsh Government have kicked the sustainable farming can down the road. They declared a climate emergency in 2019. They know how important the rural sector is to addressing that. They know. But yet again, we're the only UK nation that will not have an offer for its farmers and food producers. People might say, well, what's coming with the new scheme? I can't tell you.
I think, yeah, you have to approach this transition and be thinking ahead as to how your farm is going to look in 5-10 years' time.
And then finally, to Julie James, I wish we had a few more politicians like her. I can see that I'd have robust discussions, but she says she's open to listening to robust discussions, and that is a rarity in politicians, I sometimes think. I know we will fall out on some of the details. I know we will, but she was definitely saying, I don't know the answers, and you do.
I've been particularly pleased to hear what the Minister had to say. I thought she was quite proactive, and I look forward to seeing that some of her interest and her take on how things are moving forward coming to fruition in the next sort of 12 to 18 months.
What I've really learned today is that we can work together with government, finding solutions, challenging where necessary, to come up with a real plan that will help us deliver, obviously, our climate change objectives, but ultimately driving green growth in Wales and further afield.
So I came today thinking the whole issue of climate change was a hopeless situation and was rather despondent on what one might do to help. However, today at the CLA Conference, it seems that everybody can do their own little bit. And I've heard that if every farmer in Wales planted 2.25 acres of woodland, that would help enormously. And I've been thinking where I can plant my 2.25 acres at home. And I think I've made my mind up where it will be.